Good morning, everyone. My name is MightyStream, and I'm going to do your June the 1st spiritual principle a day in a meditation. I'm hoping that you're having a wonderful morning. If you need to reach me, feel free to do so at recoveryofhope21@gmail.com. Okay, the title of the meditation is Consistency in Step 10. In the 10th step, we use all the principles and actions we learned in the previous steps, applying them to our lives on a consistent basis. It works. Step 10. Left unexamined, anger, fear, shame, and resentment can bring out the worst in us. Character defects we'd once honed into survival skills stand ready to help. It's no surprise they spring to mind first when we're faced with a challenge. We've relied on manipulation, self-pity, intolerance, dishonesty, perfectionism, arrogance, and the rest of our defects for as long as we can remember. But now that we're in recovery, it seems increasingly clear they're not such a good fit for our new lives. The lessons of steps 4 through 9 help us see those crusty old tools in a new light. We become deeply familiar with the damage we've caused in the past, have surrendered aspects of our character that shaped hurtful words and actions, and humbly gone about owning our messes and cleaning them up. Understanding how we've operated in the past sets us up for a better way, but it will take consistent effort for our new ways to become second nature. Step 10 gets us in the habit of viewing our lives through the lens of the steps. Consistent practice helps us integrate their principles into our lives. Here's one member's experience with doing just that. My regular inventories read like letters to my higher power. They begin with, "Dear HP, my reminder that I'm not alone in this process." Then I jot down the fears and resentments that are popping up, the defects that are calling me, and the spiritual principles I need to keep handy instead. I end with, "I'm ready for you to remove my shortcomings and clear the way for my loving service." There are many ways to practice step 10. Of course, how we go about it is far less important than the fact that we do. Reflecting on our progress helps us integrate the principles into our lives and live consistently by our values. Sorry about that, folks. I had a little boy waking up. Okay, and it ends with this. Does my habit of self-reflection encourage consistency between my beliefs and behavior? How can I integrate the steps and their principles into my practice of step 10? To be a mom in recovery. Let's take a moment of silence, everyone, followed by the reversion of the Serenity Prayer. Moment of silence now, please. Thank you. God, grant us the serenity to accept the things that we cannot change, the courage to change the things that we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Just for today, please and thank you. That wisdom to know the difference is so important. If I haven't ever emphasized it, which I'm sure I have, I want to re-emphasize it. The wisdom to know the difference. Because I can have the courage to change something and not realize that it's not mine to change. That codependent nature, right, can step in and want to take control. That Captain S on my chest, right? And we all have that aspect of us. But if we have the wisdom to know what we can and what we cannot change, that will make our lives a lot easier, right? A lot easier, because when we are moving in the direction of something that is ours to handle, there's a lot more grace, a lot more opportunity for it to flow a lot easier because our mind, our spirit, everything about us is set up and geared towards this is in my authority to handle. I can change this. But when we're doing it with something that is not ours to change, constant issues. The people we're interacting with don't want to be bothered with us. Our energy is drained. We have a chip on our shoulders. We're upset. So if no other time in your life, for the sake of your ongoing recovery, make sure you're honing in the wisdom to know the difference between what you can change and what you can't. Your step 10 is something that you can change. That is something that you dedicate to your life at the end of the day or the beginning of the day. It doesn't matter to me when your time to do it is. What matters is that it's reflective, and it's reflective on the prior ongoings, right? So the previous things that have taken place, and you're looking back on those and you're saying, okay, I saw some manipulation coming in this situation. And I probably need to double back to that individual and let them know, you know what? I felt like I was trying to make you do something that you didn't want to do. I really felt like later I thought about it and I felt like I was manipulating you into going into treatment. And you know what? That's not my responsibility. And I want to let you know that I care a lot about what goes on with you, but that's not mine to do. And I apologize for that. And I'm hoping that will never come back up. But I'm going to let you know that whether you go into treatment or not, that's your decision. I don't have a right to try and manipulate you, persuade you, make you do anything that you don't want to do. Matter of fact, I don't have the right to do that with anything that you do want to do. So let me put it to you like this. I am going to deal with your using behaviors, your active addiction, lack of follow through, all of the stuff that brings me and my children heartache. I'm going to step off from that because I don't have the energy to stay up all night worried about, did I say it right to you? Right? Did it make sense to you? And 3-4 weeks down the road, we're still talking about the same doggone behavior. It's not mine to handle. It's not mine to change. And I just want to let you know I'm conscientious of that. I apologize for that. And I'm going to try to back all the way up on that. Right? So it's not just that I'm taking this inventory and okay, I now have this information about, the areas that didn't go so good and the great things that also took place. No, 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 no. It's not just that I'm doing that. It's that I'm able to make prompt amends, double back and say, you know what? I got that wrong. I'm pretty good at seeing myself coming down the road, but I didn't even see, right? My fear stepping in and trying to fix, manage, and control somebody else's business. I am so sorry about that, right? I'm giving you an example of what that looks like. The person in here, they're saying, you know what? I always do my step 10 like Dear HP and then end it with, I'm so ready for you to take this from me, right? But there's some things in that step 10. It's not just about writing about it, it's about being about it. You have to go back and own your side of the street. You have to clean your side of the street up on a daily basis. Prompt amends, right? And I guarantee you, folks, it makes my life so much easier. And it makes people uncomfortable too. I do figure that piece out, is that it makes people uncomfortable when you return to a conversation. Maybe they've been stewing about it since you guys interacted, and you say what you need to say. You say, you know what? It was something about that that was not right, and it bothered me. I feel like I was overstepping my bounds, or I feel like I should have footed the bill because you footed the bill all the other 100 times before, right? In the moment you asked me, do I have the tip? I got offended or whatever that is. And you have to own that. And the more you keep your path clear, right? Even if it makes them uncomfortable, like, man, she is always like, why? It seems like there's always something else with my conversation with her. Yeah, because you're dealing with a person that is living the recovering life, that is working on a step 10 on a daily basis. So, yeah, that means if we're in a relationship, I'm not just going to act like certain conversations didn't happen. And I'm not going to act like I don't owe some acknowledgement and awareness that I overstepped my bounds or didn't handle something right. I'm not just going to do that because I have a whole life ahead of me of recovery that I'm trying to live problem free. Not that it's going to be perfect, but I'm not going to allow these petty.com, these petty.com situations to control me on a day-to-day basis. I'm not going to do it. So that means that you don't have to take my phone calls. You don't have to answer my email. You don't have to answer my knock at the door. You don't have to do any of that. But if it comes down to me and my step 10, I'm going to handle my business. And sometimes that means the people on the other end are not comfortable with that because they're non-confrontational. They have maybe spent the last since you last saw them, which should be 24 hours, but maybe it's a week. They've spent all that time stewing about their interaction with you, have built up a resentment with you, have character assassinated you, meaning they've stabbed you in your back, gossiped about you, and talk trash about you because of the way you behave. And so when you're coming back and saying, you know what, I got that wrong. I'm so sorry. I totally got that wrong. They're like, okay, what? I don't know what to do with this. Like, I just literally killed you with my mouth for the last week. I talked about you like a dog. I called you everything but the child of God for a dog for a week, excuse me. And now you want to come and apologize and make it right. And I don't know how to undo the harm that I've caused you since our last interaction. Give them a pass. Just assume, just assume that if I owe an amends, if I am doing my step 10 and I'm thorough about it and I owe something, just assume. Now, I'm not Dr. Fossil here, but just assume that they probably have a reason to be upset with you. Just assume it. And just assume that in the spirit of your serenity prayer, accepting the things that you cannot change, you don't have any control over how they responded after you offended them or did whatever you did that you're coming back on your step 10 to make prompt amends about. You don't have any control over that. But just assume that they trashed you. But in the spirit of goodwill, honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness, and ownership, responsibility, integrity, accountability, just assume that has happened. And there might be some blowback over the next few days over it, maybe a year. What? Y'all friends? I thought she just, okay. Yeah, you must be talking about that time I messed up. And, yeah, she probably was upset with me and she needed to be. Just assume that that's going to happen. And be ready for whatever that wreckage is. And let it serve as a way to remind you to avoid treating people like that in the future. Let it just serve as a lesson. Because if you buy into that, like, how dare you? I'm going to double back to you and come back to you and apologize to you. And you have gone and called everybody and talked about me like a dog to the people I work with and did this and did. How dare you? And I humbled myself and came back to you. And this is what you did before I could come back and apologize? Like, are we really friends? I know that's going through your mind because it's gone through mine. I already know that is going through your mind because it has gone through mine. So let's not get on that horse and ride it. Let's not ride that horse to the beach of Jamaica talking about I'm riding a white horse. No, let's not do that. Let's not say we did. Okay? Because if you jump on that horse, right? That knight white shining armor, if you jump on that particular horse of righteousness, self-righteousness, right? It's going to be a long trip home on the Greyhound from Jamaica because that horse will dump you. That horse will giddy up and leave you flat on your behind, wondering how you ended up on the bottom of the situation when you were just trying to do your step 10 and just trying to, make sure the pathway was clear, right? Just trying to make sure, right? If you jump on that now, I'm upset because you actually did this and didn't give me a time to come to my senses about my own stupidity, right? That's a strong word, right? But you actually had feelings behind my own stupidity, my acts towards you that were not loving, and you had the audacity to speak that out to other people. Oh, how dare you? If you jump on that horse and ride it all the way to Jamaica, I guarantee you it will giddy up on you and you will end up on your tail end talking about hitchhiking from there back to wherever you left from. And don't do it. It's I'm so comical today. I need to be on a television show. I am feeling this meditation with everything that is in me. Everything that is in me, I feel this because I have lived this one. Let's just leave it at we're going to have a beautiful day. We're not going to Jamaica on a white horse over our step 10s. We're going to do our step 10s because that we can change. I think that's the thought I left you guys at that I was trying to make is that is something that you can change. And we're going to change it by trying to do it. I want you to try to do it in the sense of journaling your day, even if you have not written on step 10. It is a good habit. There's nothing bad about it. And being willing to let people know that you're aware that you messed up. There's nothing bad about that. And then if you're not on that step, you need to hurry up and get it done. You need to get to that step because we're trying to get you through your steps, right? We're trying to get through them so that we have that spiritual awakening that we all know we've had many spiritual awakenings, but the one that's in the 12th step is a different experience, and we're trying to get you to that. My name is MightyStream. I've enjoyed talking to you. Have a beautiful day on purpose. I intend to, and I will be talking to you tomorrow.